time, and that is what I've been doing. It has always dawned on me that anytime I meet Christians or any person who is in need of any kind of financial advice, I will provide the necessary help and give the person as much information as I can to that person. So I spoke with Pastor Godfred about 4 years ago, and we have been thinking about this, and then today is the time that God has given us for us to come over. And I'm happy to be here. I don't know about your background, but I think as we interact and go forward, we will be able to know each other from that on. So that is it really. And I'm going to go a bit more into what we do. I try to blend scripture with it, but I'm not a pastor, but the way I understand it is the way I relate to everybody. So according to what I've got in mind is to start off by talking about mortgages. I don't know any one of you have any one of you got a mortgage? You got a mortgage. You got a house, yeah? You bought with a mortgage. So okay. So basically, mortgage is the loan that the bank will give you to buy a house. So the way it works is that the lender has the first, they register a charge on your property until you pay it off. It doesn't become yours. But there are steps to which you can take to ensure that you pay that after a period of time. Usually, it is advisable that the mortgage is paid off before your 70th birthday, which means that it will be around the time that you'll be going to retirement. So the way it works is there are several key things that you have to look after. You look for when you want to get a mortgage. And some of these things are heavily dependent on your income, your circumstances, which is your credit history, and most importantly, the term that you want to have the mortgage over, because the term will dictate how much mortgage you have to pay over a certain period of time. So what I'm going to do is we are going to go a bit more into how they determine your income when it comes to mortgages. So if every one of you have got a phone, I will interact with you when you have the phone. So what you do is on your web browser, go to, we'll just pick one lender and we'll talk about that lender. There are several other lenders. There are about more than 300 lenders who provide mortgages. So if we go to one second. Please. If you type in your web browser, Barclays for intermediaries. Barclays for intermediaries. Barclays for intermediaries. Have you all got it? There's a section called affordability calculator. If you go inside the website, there's a section called calculators. And in that section, there's one called residential calculator. Is everyone there? Okay, so it's Barclays for intermediaries. And then you want calculators. We got calculators here. You got yours. We got yours. The ladies haven't got theirs. Okay, good. Is everybody on this page? Residential calculators. Residential calculator. Everyone there? Residential calculators. You there? Yeah? So you find this page. A page like this. It looks like this. Everyone there now? I think these ladies are struggling. If you can help them. Yeah? So on that page, I'm going to show you how you can see how much you can be lent for mortgage purposes. And then we will try and apply what is called criteria to it, so that you can know whatever means you can do to achieve that level of mortgage you want. So let's say, for instance, the estimated property price that you want, let's call it 200,000. Everyone is there. So the next section, it says total mortgage amount. Leave it blank. And let's go to where it says, is the property in Scotland? Say no. Sorry, mine is not working properly. Okay, say no. And then split this mortgage into multiple parts. Just say no. Now, the term of the mortgage is your age now and 70 years. So it's 70 years minus what your age is now. So if you are like 45, the mortgage term should be 25 years. 70 minus 45. So each one of you will have theirs different. But if you just put 25 years on there, everyone there? And then say where it says select a repayment method. Just say repayment. Don't say interest only. Just say repayment. Is everyone there? And then click on next. Repayment, yes. If you click on next, you'll get this page with client details. With that, if you are single, go single. If you are married and you want to buy with a partner or even with your friend, you can go joint. Yeah. But what we will do now is, let's go for single. Second, say no. So everybody goes on single. And then you have another section that says that income details. So let's go for employed. And I'll talk about self-employed and other non-employed income later. So if you go for employed, now your annual gross income is your last month's payslip gross income times 12 months. It is not what you have earned from the beginning of April to now. It is your last month's gross pay times 12 months. So if you are on £3,000 a month, it is 3,000 times 12, which gives you 36,000. So you can put in 36,000 here. Everyone there? Backlist for intermediaries. Everyone there? Where it says, does your client receive any bonus over time or commission? Let's say no for now. Everyone there? Okay, now scroll down to where it says financial commitment. Now, that section, leave it all blank. We will come and see the reason why, if you have certain financial commitment, it makes it difficult for you to get a loan, a mortgage. You understand? We'll come to that later. So where it says number of financial dependents, just put 2 there. And then the last section where it says, does your client have an equity loan for the property in this application? Just say no. That's a different thing. Everyone there? Who is lost? Where are you lost at? And then, yes, you're right. We are waiting for the lost ones. Are you up to speed now? Okay. So just say next to the next session. Where it says, does your client have any existing mortgages? Just say no. And then go calculate. Okay, so it will tell you how much they can borrow you. That's £170,000. That's how much the bank can give you based on the just your salary of £36,000. That's how much they can borrow you. Now we are going to do a bit more into this now. Has everyone got 170,000? So what this means is that the information we have given them, if everything is true, that's how much you can be borrowed. That's for a single person. So if we go back again and we say there are 2 people, it will possibly be more than that. So what we can then do is, you can edit as much as you can. So if you scroll down, it says, let's go to where it says other mortgages. What do you see there? There's nothing there. And then click recalculate. Okay, let's scroll down to where it says 170,000. And then let's go to where it says income and commitment. where it says income and commitment. Yeah, click on that. Let's edit that one. Now, we are going to tweak this according to their criteria. Yeah. So mortgages are based on criteria and your credit history. Now, the criteria involves your circumstance, your income, and your other commitments. Say, for a joint person, if you say joint, you will have applicant 1 and an applicant 2. So already we've done applicant 1. So let's go to applicant 2. We see applicant 2. Now let's say that person too is employed. And the gross salary is the same as 36,000. Or let's call it maybe 14,000. Yeah, 14,000. 1-4. Where is it? Under applicant 2. Yeah. Employed. And let's say the second applicant has got an income of 14,000 a year. So 1-4. And let's say it says, does your client receive any bonuses over time or commissions? So for commissions, one of their criteria, for overtime, one of their criteria is that there must be evidence for those overtime to be present on your pay slip. So they take the average of the last 6 months overtime amount that you have earned. And then they multiply that by 12. So let's say, for instance, the average of the overtime you've earned in the last 6 months is £600. Multiply that by 12. That'll give you 7,200. So let's do that. So let's put where it says, does your client receive any bonuses over time or commission? Say yes. And then it will ask you, how often are they paid bonuses over time or commission? And we will say monthly. The first box. Let's take the first box. Yeah, weekly bonus. Yeah. Okay. Now, depending on how long you have been on that employment, they will ask for your P60. So let's say there's a P60. Say, annualized bonus and commission paid weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. Enter either the annualized bonus amount from their pay slip or P60, whichever is the lowest. So we can say the 600 that I said earlier times 12, that's 7,200. Let's put that one there. So you will see the importance of working overtime if you want to get a mortgage. The minimum you can do is 6 months, and you'll be able to get the sort of mortgage you want, and then you can move on from there. Have you got that one? Second, take the first box that says weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. That as soon as you take it, there will be some drop-down menu underneath. Yes. Annualized bonus and commission paid weekly, or 7,200. It is the average of your overtime in the last 6 months prior to making a mortgage application. Remember that box that we take, that was the first box is annualized bonus or and commission paid weekly. So let's do that one for overtime as well. Let's make it 2,000 at the next box. Then it says, do you have P60 for this employment? Just say yes. Now, where it says other income, any other income, Where it says any other income. You know where it says any other annual income, if applicable. Now, one of the criteria is that sometimes certain people are single and their ex-partner pays them maintenance allowance. So, for instance, you can get a maintenance allowance payment from your ex-partner or even from your husband. Now, that maintenance allowance, they want evidence of that for the last 6 months. So, if you are very wise, you can ask him to give you more money just because you want to get a mortgage. So, if we say the person gives you £1,500 a month, yeah, times 12 months, that gives you 18,000. So you can put 18,000 there. No, no. All they care about is the person is able to transfer the money to your bank account as maintenance allowance. They won't say anything. All they care about, they are not looking at that person. They are looking at the evidence of how much money is coming there as maintenance allowance. That's all they are looking for. Provided you have a child, that's it. And they will not ask for the child's birth certificate or anything of that sort. Okay, let's do 1,000. So 1,000 a month times 12 is 12,000, right? Let's go with what he's saying. Now let's come to the credit section. Is everybody there? So let's say the total amount of how much you owe on your credit report and everything, let's call it maybe 6,000. So in that section there, put 6,000 there. Yeah, on your credit report. That's why I said that it's based on your circumstance. So the circumstances are what we are feeding into it now. So you will see how much you could be borrowed. The first one we had 170,000, isn't it? Now, certain people have got high purchase. Certain people have got cars on credit. Some people have got high purchase on their vehicle. And it says, any other financial commitment, including council tax. So we can say £300 a month. Yeah, 300. This one is monthly, not a year. Now, when we finish, according to their criteria, click on recalculate. Second. Just say no on that one. So we're still on 170,000. So you see the circumstance is such that even if you earn so much income and you have credit commitment, it affects the mortgage that you are going to get. So if we go back there and click on that income and commitment again, and then we scroll down. You can project on the screen. Yeah. You can go to the back of the laptop. Okay, is that any better? Yeah, because before he has not brought this, so okay, let me project it. That will look a lot better. Anything. No, better. Hello, everybody. But we'll make it away. So now we go down to calculators from here. We'll start all over again because I think it's a lot better now. So on that website, we do residential affordability. So we key in the property value of 200,000. And then we leave off the total mortgage amount because we don't know how much they will borrow us yet. Is this property in Scotland? We say no. Split that mortgage into multiple parts. We say no. Now the term of the is the difference between your age now and 70. So we just say 20 and 0 months. So it says select a repayment method. So the repayment means you are paying off the mortgage and paying interest at the same. And now this one is what is preferred by the FCA. So by the time you are 70, you would have paid off the mortgage. So let's click on select a repayment method. And then we go next. Now, at first we did a single mortgage application of where we got 170,000. This time we are doing a joint one. So for applicant 1, is everyone following? For applicant 1, we go employed. And then we say the annual salary is 36,000. And say, does your client receive any bonuses over time on commission? For applicant 1, at the first instant, we said no. Any other income? We left that one blank. So we go to applicant 2. We say that one too is employed. And he has a gross income of £14,000. Does your client receive any bonuses over time or commission? We said yes here. The week, how often these are paid? We ticked on weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. So now we key in the amount. So the annualized bonus. Okay, I think this is fine. That's fine now. So the annualized bonus, we say 7,200. And then the overtime, say annual overtime income, if applicable. This one is based on the average of the last 6 months overtime. So let's say it's 2,000. So does your client have a PCC for this employment? According to their criteria, if we said yes, they will apply 100% of the overtime amount. If you said no, they will do 50%. So let's say yes. And then the total financial commitment we did first for the credit card and store cards was 6,000. And then we have any other financial commitment, including council tax. That one we put £300, didn't we? The number of financial dependents, that is, we said 2. Does your client have any equity loan for the property in the application? We said no. We went to the next stage. Does your client have any existing mortgages? We said no. And then we calculate. So we got 170,000. So that was based on the first criteria. So if I went back in there again, and for instance, we took out no financial commitment, let's see how much it will be. It's still 170,000. Okay. Let's go back there again. Where it says any other annual income. This is why I talked about maintenance allowance. So according to the first gentleman I spoke with, £1,000 a month, provided there is evidence that we have evidence that can show in the bank statement that there's £1,000 a month being transferred into the account for a maximum period of 6 months. That should be fine. So we put 12,000 there. Everything remaining the same. And then we go to recalculate. I think there's something wrong with this calculator. Just bear with me 1 second. There must be something wrong with this calculator. Let me start all over again. I think there's something wrong with this calculator. 1 second. Okay, guys, let's leave Barclays. I think there's something wrong with their calculator. We'll try NatWest. 1 second. So we've gone to NatWest. Let's look at what NatWest is saying. I think there's something wrong with it.
He said 170 is available for your client, but we could lend up to 190,000. See, over 25 years, and 200 we put out 10% deposit plus 190 that gives you.
But I wanted this to do.
Can this one increase this?
Yeah, it is not increasing. Meaning there's a bug in the system. So try another lender.
Okay.
Let's try another lender. So we are with NatWest now because there's something wrong with Barclays' one. So I've left that one. Let's try NatWest. So we go to mortgage calculator. So we do residential affordability calculator. So we go for joint. Is this a specialist scheme? We said no. Loan to value, we say 90%. That means you are putting down 10% deposit. So the capital interest, let's say, we just put any amount there to say that's how much we're expecting to pay, say £1,500 a month. Mortgage term is between your age now and 70. So let's say that's 25 years. Number of dependents, we'll say 2. We say rest of the UK. Your gross income, at first we say it's 36,000. Anytime you want any information, say applicant 1, other income annual gross. So we click on here and we see what it says. It says additional regular income should be entered here, such as second job, overtime, child benefit. So let's say for applicant 1, the overtime we put there was 7,200. Applicant 2, we say they earned 14,000 a year. Monthly loan repayment. So let's say there's a high purchase of £158 a month, £156 a month. That's your, no, actually. Let's say the person has got a loan where he pays £90 a month, and there's a high purchase of £150 a month. The rest are all zero. Say yes here. Let's calculate it, have a look at this. So you see the difference. For that same income I was putting in, Barclays will only give 170, but NatWest is offering £286,000 for the same person, for the same people, the same circumstance. So it is always based on your, that's what we mean by your circumstance. The circumstance includes your credit history, the amount of income you earn, the term that you want the mortgage to be, and then the value of the property that you want. This is what NatWest is saying. Provided that everything that we have keyed in there is correct and is reflecting the circumstances, this is how much it could be borrowed. Now, one key thing for NatWest is that they do not borrow to foreign nationals who are on a visa. So if we go to NatWest for intermediaries, again, let's say, over here it says their criteria. So anytime you want to get any mortgage, you want to look at their criteria. So the criteria, we are looking at income and packaging. So we go down here. And then let's see what they talk about, what they say about bonus. So in this section, we cover monthly, quarterly, and annual bonus packaging. Monthly bonus, yes, they accept. So anybody who accepts, who gets a monthly bonus is accepted. And this is what they said. They said, what evidence do you have to show? They said, last 3 months consecutive pay slip showing bonus payment. If paid weekly, we need the last 13 pay slips. And if you are paid quarterly, the same thing. The last 4 pay slips showing payment for each quarter. The same applies to the rest. So we close this one. Let's look at their income. They say income and packaging. So anybody who gets a child benefit is accepted. Evidence that you have to show is latest benefit award letter or latest 1 to 3 months consecutive bank statement showing credit. And they went on to say that they can accept up to 100% of child benefit. So that's one circumstance where if you find yourself in that circumstance, you will get that sort of opportunity. So if you go back to income again, let's look at basic salary.
Sorry, can we ask questions?
Go on, yeah.
People on COS, can they get child benefits?
No. So people on COS, Barclays is the only lender who will do it. If you're on COS and then you cannot get child benefit until you have gotten an indefinite leave to remain, but you can still buy a house with your COS income.
But only from Barclays.
So Barclays is the best lender for it. The other lender, they are a bit slow. You can get a bit frustrated with it. So Barclays will give, provided you have 10% of deposit that you need to put down, they will be able to borrow.
And please, how many months? What's the minimum months you have to have on your visa to qualify? The minimum.
So for Barclays, it changes every now and then. The last time I knew it, it's 1 year.
You have to have minimum of 1
left, 1 year left on the visa.
Will any lender give you if you have like 6 months?
Yes, that one is down to the broker negotiation. So we have access to the managers, so we can speak with the manager, and then that will be done. And that will be done. So, any more questions?
What do you think about auction houses, auction buildings?
Oh, I'll come to that. So this one I'm dealing with residential. So people who don't have houses, they want to buy a house for the first time. Provided you can show what I've just talked about. You can show your salary, your pay slips. You can show your credit report and your bank statement.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is it advisable to buy a brand new house or an existing house?
So speak a bit louder.
I said, is it advisable to buy a brand new house or an existing one already?
According to my own experience, if you bought an existing house, it's a lot cheaper than if you bought a brand new house, because you'll be paying the profit of the developer for the next few years. So brand new houses are always expensive than existing ones. Yeah, brand houses are always expensive than existing ones.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any zero deposit schemes around? Zero deposit?
Yes, there is some, but it's limited to British nationals. Provided the person can show. This one is with a lender called Skipton Building Society. If you rent a house and you have been renting for at least 12 months and you can show that you have been on time with the rental payment, Skipton Building Society will give you a mortgage where you don't have to put down any deposit.
Okay, even for second house or only first?
First house. That's only for first-time buyers. That's for only first-time buyers.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
We're talking about a calculation. Let's take, for example, someone has a business outside UK. can you add the money?
I've left the paper there, break it in the front. Yeah, go on.
Let's say, for example, someone has a business, or you get money outside UK.
Uh-huh.
Can the money be added during the calculation?
Okay. So this falls under what we call double treaty arrangement. So if anybody is resident in the UK and he has business outside, according to HMRC laws, when the money is being brought here, the person must become self-employed and declare that money here. Now, under the double treaty arrangement, you are not going to pay any extra tax, but they are going to see how much tax that you paid in that country of origin and see how much tax you should have paid if the business was here. So if that tax is lower, HMRC will get you to pay the difference. So what most people do is that there is a lender called Market Financial Solutions. Those are the ones who do mortgages for foreigners who don't live here in the UK. But for NatWest, they won't do it. They will require you to have a self-assessment tax record showing that income has been brought from outside the UK. You understand? Yes. Any more questions?
I've heard some colleagues that will say that they wanted to get money from their parents outside UK or their siblings, and they pay that money into their account and they term it gifts. So will it be considered when the bank?
Of course. Of course.
So they can send it as gifts.
Yeah,
and
there is a way you have to do it. If the money is coming from outside the UK, the money should have been in the UK for a minimum period of 6 months. If it's coming from the UK. Well, now, if it is a minimum period of 6 months, it is classified as savings. So there will not be that requirement of a gift or anything of that sort. But if it is less than 6 months, then you have to provide a gift letter and then explain why. But it's not a difficult thing to do. It's one of the most easiest things that you can do. Now, most people, there's one important one that I want to say. There is a lender called Bath Building Society. So what they do is, if you have children who are going to university, say they are going to Northampton, and they have to rent a house there, instead of staying in a hostel, the equivalent amount of the rent they would have paid if they lived in a hostel, that sort of rent can be used for them to buy a house where they attend uni. And then when they complete the uni, they can now rent the house to someone else. So it's a new scheme that has come. And it is what most people do when their children leave. Say they left Canterbury for maybe Liverpool, and they've gone to Liverpool University or any university there. And then instead of them renting and paying someone a landlord rent, they can buy a house with that particular rental income, expected rental income, outside in that area. So most people, most people, that's what most people do. So their children go to uni, and then they just buy a house there for them. The amount of mortgage you will get for the house is dependent on how much rent they would have paid if they live in a hostel. Obviously, there will be a small income requirement, but the criteria on that is not very strong.
Okay. Sorry, just a follow-up question. So in that case, after they have 4 years of uni or 3 years, are you going to be forced to rent it out to somebody, or it's yours so you can decide?
It can even become yours.
Okay.
It can even become yours.
If it is becoming yours, do you have to go through another process or procedure?
No. If it is in your child's name or in your name, you don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through any process. It's in your name anyway, so you don't have to worry about that.
Then I'll talk to you more about that one because
it's a new one that has come, and it's with Bath Building Society.
But so it means are you going to pay stamp duty and everything like?
Of course.
Okay.
You pay stamp duty. Yeah, you pay stamp duty on it.
Okay.
Bath Building Society.
Yes, I have a question. Okay.
Go on.
There's this. I want to ask this ISA.
ISA.
ISA, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it also considered? Because I have a friend that they've been able to save for a year. Then government gives them extra 1,000.
1,000, yeah.
So can they? I know the money. If you have it, that's 5,000 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
So can you also get mortgage to add to it? And is it applicable, or you have to use that one to buy house?
The way it works is that ISA, the government, is a form of savings deposit that you make towards buying a house or anything that you want. If you are going to use it to buy a house, after the completion, the government will give you £1,000. It is not during, it's after it has been completed. So your solicitor, your solicitor will make that application on your behalf for that money to be given to you. So ISA is a very good form of investment for people who are on low income. Yeah. Sorry, speak in that mic again.
Like, can you create an account yourself? The government give you the 1K every month. I know you have to save up to £4,000 in a year.
Yeah.
Every April they give you 1,000.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to explore the opportunity so that.
Yeah, you can save. So far as you save in an ISA, I think it's called Help to Buy ISA or something like that. There are different types of ISAs. Yes. You can open up an ISA account on your own. And if it's a Help to Buy ISA, you will get, because we have cash ISAs and then we have Help to Buy ISA. Cash ISA is different to Help to Buy ISA. So if it's a Help to Buy ISA and you use that money for your deposit when you bought the house, when you are going to buy the house, the government will give you £1,000 back for using that scheme. But every ISA has to be renewed every year, every 5th of April, when the financial year ends.
Is there an age limit for that? I think there's age limit.
There is an age limit for. I don't want to go much more into it. That's why I kept quiet. There's an age limit for it. I think it's up to 60 years.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, assuming that someone have like saved deposits to buy a house, but is not able to buy because the house is quite expensive in that location.
Yeah.
And you decide to go for a flat. Would you recommend the person should buy a flat at the moment and save to get the house later on, or person should just keep saving until he or she is able to get deposits for a house? So my question is, would you recommend buying a flat over a house?
From experience, a flat is not something I would recommend for anybody to buy. The reason being that there's even so many struggles with maintenance fees on a flat, where it goes up extortionately every year. And as your family grow, you will not like a flat, because as a woman, you're on the 3rd floor, you've done the shopping, you always have to be going up and down, and it's not something that you. Also, flats have got a lease term. When that lease term comes, when the lease term ends and you don't renew the lease, you lose the flat. So when the time, say the lease term is maybe let's say 25 years, and your mortgage term is 25 years. When that term is ending and you don't renew the lease, you will lose the flat. And during the time that you want to renew the lease becomes expensive.
Okay, sorry, I want to ask, I don't know, I want to know the advantage of buying a house as a citizen, or like the difference between buying a house as a citizen and on somebody on a sponsored visa.
There is only one advantage.
Okay.
If you are buying your very first house where you are a citizen, you can put down about 5% deposit. But if you are not a citizen, A citizen in this question means somebody on indefinite and also has a British passport. Any other requirement, a person on any kind of visa is required to put down a deposit between 10% and 25%. So the people who do it the most, where they give people 10% deposits, Barclays. Apart from that, every other lender will require you to put down 25% deposit. After you've overcome that hurdle, any other house you want to buy, you can put down any amount of deposit you want, provided it's at least 10%. Or even sometimes, in some cases, 5%.
I want to ask a question because this is a personal question. I helped a colleague of mine.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, I have a registered company. So he was paying into my account, and every week I was also paying into his account as salary. After 6 months, the money was calculated. He wanted to buy a house that was not 450 or 480. So I was paying every week. I was paying almost 2001, 2002, in such a way that it would transfer the money to my account, and I will also
paying back a salary.
So we did that for 6 months, and by the grace of God, he has gotten the house. So I want you to explain that process.
Okay, it is always possible if you are wise enough to do what the person has done, provided that the company, your company, must be a strong company. A strong company means a company which is declaring profits, not losses. Because you cannot be declaring losses and be paying somebody maybe. You understand what I mean? Provided the company is declaring profit. And other things they check is that they will check whether the company has got a presence, meaning that it's on the internet. It's got a phone number that they can contact. All they care about is that you, the person, the borrower, you are not connected to the company in any way. Meaning that you are not a director. You are not related to the person. The person is not your friend. The relationship must be such that it is like an employer and an employee. You can get away with it. I'll come to tell you more about how you can get away with certain things. But I'm waiting for more questions, then I'll come to that. Go on.
My question is that it's my own pastor. After Stalina will ask, what avenue can we use to get property without a financial base?
We will come to that. I'll come to that because I've put them in sections.
Okay.
So when you say property, what do you mean by without a financial base? What do you mean by without a financial base?
Whereby you can buy financial base that you don't have, not really per deposit. You don't have like a huge amount of money to be buying those property.
We will come to that. That falls under what we call bridging. But we are looking at how people can buy their first homes. But if you have brought that up, let me just talk more about bridging. So bridging is a kind of loan they give you as the borrower to buy a property that you can work on and sell later or even remortgage later. So on that premise, the property must be lower than the market value. So let's say, for instance, you went to buy, I'll use my own personal experience. I bought a property in Hull City. It was under a bridge loan for £25,000. But before I bought it, I made sure that I had done a lot of research, and I knew that when I have improved the property, I knew what the value was going to be. So that property was bought for £25,000. And after knowing all my costs of improvement and making it good, I knew that it was going to be worth 100,000. So I used, the property was 25,000. The bridging lenders wanted me to put down 25% deposit, which was around 6,000 something. And then they gave me the money of 18,000 to buy the property. So I bought the property. I spent another 12,000 to make it up. So in total, it was 37,000 pounds, somewhere like that. Then I sold the property for 100,000. So bridging is different. You can form small groups where you can take your time, raise the deposit, find a property that is below the value, and then know the cost that you have to incur to make the property up. With that, you'll be able to know how much you can sell the property for, or even remortgage it for. I'll give you one example, one typical scenario. Say, 4 of you, 1 of you must have a house on a mortgage before you can qualify for a bridging loan. Say you and your next sister, and then 2 other girls. The 2 of you, you are the only one who has the house, so you qualify for a bridging loan. They don't have, they don't qualify. They don't have enough income now. So what you can then do is, they find a bridging loan, a company, a property that is lower than the market value. Let's say maybe 100,000. And what they would then do is that they have the deposit of 25,000 pounds. They put it down. They borrow 75,000. They do up the property. They spend maybe another 12,000 on it. So the total cost now is 112,000. Now, when they have done it, the property will be in your names, right? What you can then do is that when the property is now worth, say, 150,000, and the income is maybe up to the amount that she can borrow, 150,000, she can now buy the property from you. But no, you can now remortgage and take your name off and put her name on it. So when it comes to remortgaging it, the 4 of you already, your names are on the mortgage deed already. So you can always take yourself out of it, and then she can come back on it. But remember, originally she couldn't have bought a property worth 150,000. But now that we have gone round the rules, she's now able to buy it because you have come off. There is no stamp duty on it. There is no capital gains tax on it, because the property was already owned by the 4 of you. And then when it came to remortgage it, you've just taken yourself off, and she's able to buy it. Do you understand? Or you want me to come there and explain on the board?
Okay. But I have another question. I mean, I know it's not straightforward, but I have a question. Mm-hmm. Can you buy your first house with somebody other than your wife or husband? Like, for instance, can you buy a house with your friend?
Yes, you can buy a house with anybody. You can buy a house with your mom.
With your colleague, your friend.
Your colleague, your friend, anybody at all. You can buy a house with anybody, provided you beat the income requirement and also the credit criteria requirement. You can always buy it. No, let's ask out.
Does it help you to buy your first house? Is it recommended or just
shared ownership? If I have to explain the concept, logically, it's a way for them to take your money. So shared ownership, you buy a house, the property is maybe worth maybe 400,000, and the share you want to buy is 50%, which is 200,000. Now you buy the house. Don't forget, any shared ownership property is a lease property. There's a term on it. It's not different from a flat. It gives you the chance to own a property and be on a property ladder. Now, you are responsible for maintaining up the property, paying the insurance on it, and also you have to pay the person who owns the other share a certain amount of rent. Now, when the time comes where you want to buy more shares, the person's shares, the person is obliged to allow you to buy more shares into it, but you have to buy at market value. So you are responsible for maintaining up the property, doing everything. You also pay the person rent. But when it comes for you to buy more into the shares, you have to, they have to sell to you at a market value.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I think the advantage is that you are. So let's say if it wasn't for the shared ownership, you would have waited 3 years to buy a house. Okay, so you buy it now, maybe you bought 40%. You are getting equity on that 40%.
Yes, but most people that have done shared ownership property for, they have had to come back again to either sell the whole property and just go and buy a property that they can on their own.
Because now they can raise the capital. They can raise
Yes. It does. Yes, there are some restrictions on it, but majority of the time you can staircase. So to buy more shares into the other person's share is what they call staircasing, meaning that you are going up.
Yeah, but so for instance, maybe you did shared ownership and you bought only 40%. So maybe you are paying, let's say, 1,007. But if you had rented a place, you would have been paying 1,005.
Yes.
Okay? And then you are able to do a fair share ownership of 5 years. A lot of money, and then it means you are. If you compare the equity that you are gaining compared to the renting, because don't forget mortgage is 2,007, renting is 1,005.
Yeah.
So now you are saving on equity. Now, if by chance the price of the house go up as well, you get two things: you get equity and capital gains from the high price.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm thinking that for you to stay because I think they said average house goes up 50,000 a year.
Yeah, something like that.
So if you compare it, then it's better for you to get on the ladder, even through share ownership. And as you said, after 4 years, you sell everything, you get your equity. If you get any capital gains, you go and buy a new house, completely 100% owned by you. But then you've been able to raise the deposits because of the equity. Of course, if the price goes down, then you are in trouble. But
Exactly.
if the price even stay the same, because for my house, after 4 or 5 years, we have saved almost 36,000 only on equity. So even if the price has stayed the same, it has still less than 66,000. You go and buy a new house. You understand? That is my own 100%.
Yes.
That's how I look at it actually.
I understand that concept. That's why I said that for me, I don't like share ownership property because some people like it. He has his own idea, given the kind of scenarios he's given. But you can explore other options where you can buy with someone. You understand what I mean? You can buy with someone and you don't have to worry about exactly. You understand what I mean? You can always buy with someone. The person doesn't have to live there. You understand? The person doesn't have to. The person will help you buy that property, like that bridging scenario I gave, for instance. You understand what I mean? Second.
Sorry, I know in some churches, they encourage people to do that, but sometimes it ends up in a lot of.
No, I'll give you one perfect scenario when you buy with someone. So, let's say, for instance, the house is worth 400,000. Your income is not enough for you to buy a house worth 400,000, but you have the deposit. So what you can then do is that the two of you can team up and buy one house. You stay in that house, wait till your income goes up. Now, when your income goes up, then you now want to buy a house that you want. You can now let this property where you have bought with your friend. We call it let to buy. So the difference between let to buy and buy to let. So you are letting this property, and then you can take out equity from this property that you have let, and go and buy the new house that you can buy. You understand? So you will still own the property that you have let. You will now be able to buy another property, a second property. And when you are doing a let to buy, the affordability is better because you now have increased equity in that property. And also you are able to put down a lot of deposit. And your income is also good at the time.
Okay, so I have another question. If you let's say I'm helping somebody to buy a house. Can I come off and for me to be treated as a new buyer? So first, I buy a house with my friend, and maybe after 3 years, maybe of course now we can get a deposit so that we can go and buy a second one. Can I what's the name? Can I come off the mortgage? And if I come off the mortgage, and how will I be treated? Is there a second buyer or first buyer? So
far as there's a downside to everything. So far as you've owned a property before,
you are second.
They always say, not just in the UK, anywhere in the world, but we always say we've never owned a property in the UK. You understand? So far as you have bought a property in the UK before, you'll be treated as a second time buyer. But even with that, the second time buyer discount or the first time buyer discount that they used to give was only in relation to stamp duty. But they scrapped that now. So there's nothing like second time or first time anymore. There's nothing like that anymore. It can be 10%, yes. 10%, 15%.
Okay, how about that question? I don't know how many houses you own now. Last time you own 19 houses.
Oh, I have a lot of houses. I mean, I've been around for a while. I've always used that bridging idea. It's not as if I have too much money. Yeah, you only have to make one jackpot and that's it. So when that property in Hull, when I bought it, so I earned, when I sold it, I got about, let's call it £65,000 from it. And this took in the space of just about 6 months. So you have to find the right deal. You always have to be on the internet and searching for it.
I think you need a broker to do all these things for you.
That's why I've come. So I'll share my numbers with you, Lord. And anything you want, just ask me for it. Don't worry, message me. No, but I'm always available. I understand that sometimes you
Please,
can.
I want to know a quick one. I want to know if you want to buy your first mortgage, is it good to buy personal or with joints? Which one is much best and cheaper?
It depends, because when you are joint, the affordability, which is the amount they can give you, increases, isn't it?
It increases.
Yes, but when you are single person, say one person earning £40,000 a year. On a normal scenario, it is 4.45%, 4.45 times how much the person is earning. So you are looking at about 360,000. But if the person, two people are buying it, and one person earning 40,000, the other is earning maybe 50,000. 90,000 times 4.45%, higher, isn't it?
So it's good single.
No, it's good joint.
Joints. Okay.
Yes, it's good joint than single. Depending on the value of the property, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Some people also have this concept where they get a property and then they start using the equity to buy another property.
Yeah.
Is that something that is advisable? Because obviously you're increasing the loan tenure on your first property.
There's one thing that you don't ever do is to your residential property is to take money from it to make investment. You are increasing your debt. So I have never done that. I've never used taking equity from my property, taking money from it to use it to buy other houses, because I increase the debt on the property. I don't want that level of exposure. But what I do is I'll take my time, save some money, and do my investment without touching my residential property. My property, I've got one in Battersea, if you know Battersea in London. I bought that house for 240,000. This was in 2010. Now it's worth 900,000. I have never taken money from that property.
Very expensive.
I have never taken money from that property. So imagine if I have took money from it. I can take more money from it. So if it's 900,000, it's 250,000. There is 750,000 pounds there. But if you took that, you can take up to 85% of the equity in the property. If you took that say 500,000. What are you going to use that money for? Leave it till you retire.
So at the moment, I have a couple of ideas that me and a couple of people are looking at, where you're looking at fractional ownership. Is it better to do it in? Is it better to do it through a limited liability company, or is it better to just run it as the names? Let's say, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to buy a property in Hull. Let's say, okay, we give ourselves a target and say, okay, every month we put £1,000, and then at the end of the year, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, we buy a property in Hull. Is it better to buy it in our names or to buy it as a limited liability company? Then secondly, if you are now looking at it from the new tax laws that are coming into play next year, in terms of how does that affect the whole landscape of let to buy or buy to let houses, in terms of the new laws that they're looking at implementing from next year?
It's always better to buy, even before and now, and then maybe next year. It has always been better to have a property as a limited company than in personal names. Because when it is in your personal name, the profit you earn from renting the property is added to your employed income. So they call it pay as you earn, meaning that you'll be paying more taxes. You understand? And even now, they have restricted the amount of, the interest payment that you pay on the property is tax deductible. Now they've restricted it. They use it as a tax reducer, meaning that if previously, let's say for instance, where you can deduct 100% of the income of the interest from your rental property income. Now you cannot do that anymore. A tax reducer means that you will now apply 20% of the interest you have paid on the property, and then they will deduct it from your income. Even that, they are even shelving that next year anyway. It's always, most people that I know, I have a friend, he used to have 97 properties in his personal names. Currently, he's down to 40 because he's selling them away. And then he's now moved them into, what's the name? A limited company. There's one thing you don't do is that the properties in your personal name, if you sell it to yourself, you'll be paying 2 different taxes. So if you sell it to your company that you own, you personally, you'll be paying capital gains tax on it. Now the company that you own will be paying stamp duty on it. So it's better to sell it off, get your money, and buy a new property in a new company. Now there's another guy in front. Now, Stella.
Yeah, I want to know how is bridging finance different from bridging housing system when you compare to the houses under the hammer? What are the difference
That's the same
among
thing.
them?
So all houses are under the hammer. So a bridge loan is given to you because you cannot get a traditional mortgage on a particular house you want to buy. So where, if you went to get a mortgage and the house is not fit for purpose, they will not lend. If they will not lend, the next alternative is bridge loan. So all the ones you see, houses under the hammer, they get bridge loan. But bridge loan can be very dire. You have to be very much prepared for it. You must do all your... I personally have lost 15,000. I was a house I was buying in Stoke, and I lost £15,000 because I was a bit slack. When I went to get a bridge loan, the house was not fit for purpose. So I lost money there. So bridge loan, you have to pay all attention to it. You have to be there, check the property, go with your builder, make sure that everything he's telling you is going to be the truth. And then contact me and let me see if you can get a bridge loan on that property before you go for it. Because the last thing you want, because that when you buy a house, say in an auction, you have to pay a deposit. If you don't, and all auction properties, there's a problem with them. No matter what anybody tells you, there's a problem with them. The reason why they cannot go onto a normal market is because there's a problem with them. So you have to make sure what you are getting your head into, you are going to get the end result for it.
All right. I said if you mentioned that a property has a lease on it. Yeah. So how do we know a property that has a lease, and is there any implication, or do you need to look at those things maybe when you're buying a property?
They will tell you, the estate agent will tell you that it's a lease. It's a leasehold.
So what does it
freehold.
mean to have a lease on it?
A lease means that you can own a property for a certain number of years. If you don't renew it, the person who owns the lease is called the lessor.
Okay.
That person owns the lease. So like all story buildings are on lease. All story buildings or little flats, they are all on lease. So if you buy a property of that nature, say the lease is for maybe 70 years, 80 years, or maximum, sometimes they go up to 999 years, but that's technically a freehold anyway. So when the property is on a lease, you can buy if that's what you want, but there must be enough lease term remaining in the property. You understand? Certain lenders will say at the time of the mortgage application, they want a minimum lease term of maybe 50 years remaining in the property. But the reason why I don't like lease is that when the time comes for you to renew the lease, the guys will get your money. At least it can cost in excess of 20,000, 30,000 pounds just to renew the lease for another 100 years. If you can afford to buy a flat, fine, that's what you want to do. But maybe if you waited a bit, maybe a year or two, you can buy a house. Or you can partner with your friend, your brother, anybody at all. Then you can buy. Then when you buy it, the two of you will live in there. When you are now ready to go, you don't let this property under let to buy. If you let this property under let to buy, you still own that property. Because you'll be able to take money out of that property and go and buy the house that you want. So it's all about patience and knowing your priorities. If you rush it, you will get a lot of cost.
Okay,
at the end.
Talking about patience, I want to ask a general question because I remember when we went to buy a house, I called you and you said, send me your credit report. And we started working on it.
Yeah.
And I think I was poor, very poor. And within 2 months, I came to excellent.
Yeah.
So I think if somebody wants to buy a house, what are you going to advise? Like, I know you have to give yourself like maybe 6 months to, unless maybe you have a good credit.
Yeah.
If you have poor credit and you have to sort out your income and other things.
Yeah.
You need to give yourself time. So, can you take us through the process if somebody wants to buy a house, the things that they need to take into account and consider?
Okay, so that's a very good question. We call it the house buying process. So before you buy any house, you have to seek independent financial advice, maybe from me, from other people who are mortgage brokers. So when you go and see them, they will ask you about your circumstance. That's why I started with that circumstance that we were doing with Barclays and maybe with NatWest. What you saw there was what they will ask you about. So they will ask you for your pay slips, your credit report, and then they will ask you for your passport to check your residence status. Now, if your residence status, you are on COS, then they will provide a different advice. They will use a different lender because there's a restriction on it, but you can still buy the house though. Now, when you have given them your credit report, your pay slips, and your passport, you also have to give them your bank statement. Now, the reason why they ask for the bank statement is that some lenders are funny because when they see that there's any income coming into your bank account other than your salary, they want to know why. We can always explain, but as Nigerians say, go explain tire. You can explain to some level, but beyond certain level, you cannot explain. So some of us, we have Some people, like some of us from Ghana or Nigeria, we still send money back home, but we use a different bank account, so it doesn't show there. So the bank statement you will give to your broker has to show that you earn income from a certain from where you say you work, and that's your only income, and maybe child benefit and maybe other benefits that you receive. Now, before this escapes my mind, anybody who is on universal credit can buy a house. If you're on universal credit, you can buy a house. That is also with Barclays. They will take 100% of your universal credit income. And then nowadays you are required to work, so then they will add some of your income to it. But anybody who is on universal credit has to find someone who they say is the father of the children and pay maintenance allowance to the person to boost the income level for the person to buy the sort of house they want. Yeah. So back to Godfrey's question. So when you have given the broker all the information he wants, he will go and do a research. He will look at your credit report, and then they will do a credit search. Not credit search. They will do a credit analysis on your report. They will put it in the affordability calculator. Not the individuals ones that you see, but brokers have got a master one where all lenders are there, and then we will do a research on it, and then come out with the possible lenders who they think will lend the money to you. Now, when they find that lender, what normally we do is that we phone up the lender and make sure that what we are going to tell the person is correct. Because if you tell somebody he's going to can buy a house for 120,000 and turn out to be 60,000, you become a liar. So you have to make sure that everything that you are telling the person is correct. And usually there's a time frame where that advice is valid for, maybe up to 3 months or something like that, or sometimes 6 months. So that is the house buying process. So you always have to check your bank sheet. Most Africans, our problem is the amount of money that comes in and go. That is not from the salary source. That is where we get the problem. It's not your income. It's not where you work. It's the amount of money that you send over to friends, people back home. And also, try not to be in your overdraft. If you are going to borrow, you want somebody to borrow you money. You are saying you are earning maybe £5,000 a month. Why are you in your overdraft? Meaning that you have more liability than your income. So they will look at it differently. So try not to be in your overdraft. Your bank statement must show income from where you work and your normal expenses like your council tax, your rent, food bill, water bill, maybe car insurance. Anything normal must be. So they will look at it. And the bank statement has to be in PDF copy, because they will run the bank statement. Nowadays, because of AI, as soon as you put the bank statement in, they are able to check the authenticity of it straight away. Any more questions? There's that guy in front of you, yes.
Thank you very much. I have 2 questions.
Yeah, go on.
Number 1, how do we source for properties online without relying on the estate agents? Are there specific sites that we should go to?
Unfortunately, they are the sole custodians of where you can get a property that is not dodgy. If you went through an estate agent, they have the obligation to ensure that the property they are advertising is worth what it is. But if you buy a property for someone who says he owns it, and you give your money to that person, and the person doesn't own it, you've lost your money. So what happens is that the estate agent will contact land registry and check that the property the person says he owns, he actually owns it. They will compare that person's name and address and also date of birth to the passport, the identity document that the person has, even before they advertise the property.
Question number 2. In a scenario where you've agreed on a price,
Yeah.
but during the bank's valuation, the property is devalued and the seller doesn't want to reduce the cost, what should the buyer do?
That is, it doesn't really happen that the property will devalue. If it devalues, it will only be from the lender who has gone to value the property. Now, if from my experience, any property that has been undervalued or devalued, the seller is able to negotiate with the buyer for the reduced sums, for the reduced amount. Sometimes the naughty ones, they just pull out anyway. But if a property is being advertised for maybe 120,000 and then it devalues, I wouldn't buy that property, will I? Because one of the strategies you are pursuing is that you want that property to increase in value so you can make money from it. Or when the time comes for you to sell, you can make money from it. So if it's devaluing, I would. God.
I think he said that's all. Yeah.
Is that everything? So back to the bridging question you are talking about. Yeah. Yes. So any property that you cannot buy with a traditional mortgage goes on a bridge. And one of the key criteria for bridging is that you, the person who wants to buy that property, might have owned a property in the UK. It gives them the assurance that you'll be able to manage that property. Now, when you want to buy a property on a bridging, please don't buy from auction house. You can buy from estate agents. Because auction houses, you have problems with the property. Because that is where all the dodgy properties go. Unless you're a builder, that you can do it yourself. So any problem that comes, you can solve it. But somebody who is working elsewhere, and your next strategy is to buy a house, please don't buy from auction houses. Because in the end, it can become unpleasant. So estate agents have got houses that are cheaper, below the market value. And then if you are able to negotiate a price, you buy it on a bridge loan. A bridge loan can take as little as 2 weeks. It is done. You need 25% of the deposit. 25% deposit, which is the value of the house. The moment you are able to provide that, and prudently, if you are able to provide estimation of how much cost you will incur in fixing the property. So what most people do is that they put themselves up and say that, okay, I can do all the work myself. Maybe I'll get an electrician, a quote from an electrician, a quote from a gas person, a quote from a plumbing person. Put them all together. I will do the painting myself. If you are able to provide an estimation of how much cost you will incur, and you have that money too available, yeah, it convinces the bridging loan lender quickly for them to send you the money. And there's always a short term for a bridge loan. Some are 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, but always go for 6 months. Now, what you can then do is that you can ask the bridge lender to deduct the interest that you pay in the next 6 months from the bridge amount of loan they will give you. So they will give you a little bit less than what you want, but it gives you peace of mind to fix that property and make sure that that property is completed and remortgaged. That means move on to another lender before the 6 months period. Other than that, after the short term they've given you, which is maybe the 6 months, you will incur charges which are extortionate. So normally you go for 6 months, you fix the house within 1 month. You sell it, because when you sell in a house, it takes about 2 to 3 months. So if your luck is not good, 4 months. So everything that you do has to complete within the time period that you have been given. And you'll be making money. Honestly, unless 99% of the time, you will make money on it. Even if you don't make any money on it, yeah, which is where your luck is not very good, you will still be able to take the deposit that you put in that house out of their property. So you can use that same deposit for another house. And in that one, you will still own this property and rent it to somebody. So you have that. So bridging loan is fine, but you have to team up and do it so that the pressure does not fall on one person. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Yes. But I know with the bridging loan, you can buy it, say, for instance, you have the money, but you don't have the income. You can buy with a friend of yours and then do the property up and then remortgage as residential to yourself. You understand what I mean? So it stops you from paying a extortionate amount of money for a property that is already done up and everything. So, for instance, she has 25,000, or let's say she has 40,000 pounds, and she wants to buy a house worth 150 or 170, but her income is not such that she cannot get that 170,000 pounds house. So she finds a property under bridging for about maybe 100,000. And the cost of fixing that property is another 15,000. So she contacts maybe you and said, okay, you know what, this is what I want to do. It's okay, I'll help you. She gives you the money. The two of you team up. Your name will be on the deed. Her name will be on the deed. So she buys the property, gives the deposit. You do the property up for another 15,000. So the house was 100,000, 25% deposit. So the property is now mortgaged for 75,000, isn't it? She spends another 15,000 to do the property up. When it comes to remortgage it, she remortgages the property and take you off, and it becomes hers. In total, she had only spent 15,000 pounds extra because the deposit of 25,000, she's going to pay that anyway. Yeah, she's going to pay that anyway. But she's gotten what she wants. The key thing is finding that bridging property, that property that can be sold at an value. You have to always be on the internet and search. When you are ready and everything, and you must always be ready. Once you have all your thing and everything ready, when a property comes on market and you find it, you can easily buy it. But the key thing is one of you must own a property for a bridging loan to do. Yeah, there's one person there.
What do you stand to gain? Your friend is the one who wants to remortgage the house in this bridging thing. Now, you're supporting your friend, I don't know how to say it now. What do you stand to gain? Is it that you're going to sign a contract, okay, at the end of the day, if I want to remortgage this house, you pay me so amount of money for what I've imputed? Or are you just doing it for free?
It depends on what sort of negotiations you do between you and your friend. Because you are not selling the property, there's no tax arrangement on it. You understand? You are not selling the property. Unless you are selling the property, then there's a tax implication for your friend. But when you are remortgaging it, because they don't tax you on a loan, isn't it? Remortgage means you are using a new loan, a new mortgage to clear the old ones. And in the process of doing that, you just take your friend off. There's no tax implication on it. Maybe stamp duty at the first instant when you are buying a bridging property. But then you, the person who is being helped, has to pay that anyway. You understand? Unless you want to make money off your friend, which is not ethical. Somebody contacts you, your friend, you go to the same church. She has the money, or he has the money.
No, I think what he's saying.
No. You didn't understand it. You're not using your money. You're only using your name because you already have a property in UK. Yes, because you have a property, not your money. Yes. Is the person paying everything? Hi. Niger blood.
No. No, that is what most Indians do anyway.
You're using your
That's
name.
what Indians do. They form small communities and then they buy a property and a value. And most of them are builders and painters and also. So he buys for his brother everything. They do it quickly and then take his aim off and then remote and go away. Yeah, that's what most people do.
The one question.
Yeah.
I don't have credit score personally right now.
Everybody has it. It is you who haven't got it.
No, I haven't got it. That's what I'm saying.
You can register with any of the credit reference agencies and then it will come there.
My question is, I think I don't need it yet until I want to use it to buy something or whatever. I am of the old school. From Africa, I pay for what I want. If I don't have the money, I don't pay for it. But presently, I don't have. But my question is it good for me to have it now or wait till when I need it? Because
have it now. So you can monitor. The fact that you have a bank account in the UK, there is a kind of credit about you. It is you who haven't seen it.
Okay.
So the moment you register with or you search any credit report, you put your details on it, you will see yourself there. Everybody, so far as you have a bank account in the UK, you have a credit report somewhere. You'll be surprised what it's about you.
Thank you very much. Just to give a general idea, like you talked about starting the whole process and all, the main questions that many people usually have at the start is it better to rent or to get a mortgage? That's one of the starting points for a lot of people. Then the second question that a lot of people would now go into is it better to fix it for 2 years or to fix it for 5 years?
Okay, it's a good question.
Some people also say, is it better to get like a residential property, or do I just get do I get a buy to let and stay on rent, and then I get a property that is able to pay my rent and I'm still making some profit?
Okay, depends on your circumstance. Now, if you're somebody who always rent and your credit history is fine, Skipton can give you a mortgage with you not paying a single deposit. Now, if you think of renting when you can actually buy, then you have to buy, because you'll be giving money to somebody. You understand what I mean? You'll be giving money to somebody when you can actually. People who rent is because they cannot buy. Because it makes it logically that if you can buy, why don't you rent? Sometimes, depending on the value of my mortgage is about £400 a month. Where I live, it's about £400 a month. The property is worth about £550. Yeah, even though I've paid it down, yeah. But that same property, if I was to rent when I can buy, I'll be paying about £3,000 in renting. So you have to stop renting when you can buy. But when you cannot buy, you have no other choice but to rent. But sometimes too, when you are single, you must as well, and you are renting, you can buy a studio flat. Even though there's a lease element on it, it is still better than you renting. So sometimes you can buy instead of renting. And most people I know who rent is because maybe circumstances. Maybe the credit is not very good. And don't forget, no matter how bad your credit is, you can always get a mortgage if you use the right person who will approach a lender who will accept people with bad credit. Except that those lenders charge a bit more for the interest they give out. So it's always better if you can rent, if you can buy, don't rent. And then the next question was, which one? What question is again? You asked a two-in-one question.
The second question was if you are looking to buy, some people are, you are looking at, okay, what would you say is an acceptable interest rate to be looking at, and then do you fix for 2 years or 5 years?
Okay. From experience, the 2-year fixed rates, they are a bit higher than 5 years. Because the 5 years, there's a chance that the interest rate will drop in the next 5 years than in the next 2 years. So most people, okay, let me give you one perfect example. If you are somebody who knows that your income will drop in the next 5 years, but it hasn't dropped yet, and you want to do, you are with a lender that you want to move away from, fix it now. Because when your income drops and you are moving to another lender, it's a new affordability. You understand? For that scenario, for a 2-year fixed mortgage, there are people who look at trends in the market and see what is going to happen in the next 2 years. Is interest rate going to drop? If they anticipate that interest rate will drop, they will fix it for 2 years. Most landlords, they go for 2 years. But if they can get a better deal for the next 5 years or even 10 years, they will go for 10 years. So they know that they have a stable amount of mortgage they will pay in the next 4, 5, or 10 years. You understand what I mean? It's always good when you, FCA advises that it's always good when you fix it for 5 years. But some people have got their own strategy. They will go for 2 years and then do it again and again. Don't forget, when you are remortgaged with the same lender, there's no problem. It is when you are going using another lender, that is where the problem is. Say, for instance, you got your mortgage and then you've got a high purchase car that you are enjoying. And you fix your mortgage for 2 years. And when that 2 years is coming, you want to change that lender for another lender. It will affect your affordability because of the mortgage, of the high purchase car that you have now. So if you got your mortgage now, and you got your high purchase car, and you are going to pay it over the next 5 years, just fix your mortgage for 5 years. So in that 5 years, you would have paid off the car, and it will come off your credit. And then you can now do every mortgage that you want.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, we are short of time.
Damn.
This up to 3 already. So if you have any key notes to give to us,
yeah,
within maybe the next pastor, if he has any key note to give to us, maybe within the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Yes, so that if you have any other questions, please, maybe we can forward it to you individually.
Yes.
Or what do you think?
Yes. You can always call me. If I don't answer, it's because I'm in the office. But always send me a WhatsApp message. I'll come back to it. Usually within an hour. The last thing I want you guys to know is that whatever happens, you must have life insurance. Whatever happens, whether you have a mortgage or not, there are some people who can never buy a house. They cannot leave any property, any kind of asset for their children in terms of property. But they can have a life insurance policy worth up to £1 million when they pass, and you can have life insurance from any age you are now, so far as you are more than 18, up to the age of 90. Within that time, if anything happens to you and you are no more, the life insurance company will pay the sum assured, especially when you have children. Yeah, it is very important. Most people don't take it; they take it for granted, but it's very important. You need a life insurance policy. The younger you are, the cheaper it is, but the older you are, the more expensive it becomes. Yeah. So on that note, I'll leave it here. What I will do is I'll rewrite everything correctly, and I'll send it to Pastor. I think he has everyone's contact, so you have a thorough read about it. Yeah. So that is it for today. And another time, we might talk about investment. When another time, maybe in the new year, we talk about investment. People who have cash, they've done all the property thing already, but they want to now invest, maybe with the UK government, or they want to invest in the stock market. We will talk about that. And then we'll talk about pensions as well. Why you need pension. That will be another time in the new year or something like that. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening to me. I know I can be boring. I came late, but it's not a way.
Applause for Mr. Bernard. We can do better. Thank you so much. We appreciate. Pastor, please,
Thank you,
Mr. Bernard, you have to share your contact with us. Very important. You said you can give it out now, please.
I'm looking for my key. My car key.
Please, can you call the number, Mr. Bernard? Your contact, please. I think you can have this mic.
So my number is 078 32 121 040.
Do you get it? Okay, recap, please.
Again, 078 32 121 040. Bernard, yeah. I know people are calling the number already. I can see.
So let's pray before we go. The boss is still there to take as many wants to go home. Please, if we see a bunch of keys for Pastor, please, let's allow him. Pastor's keys, looking for his keys. So let's pray before we go. Father, we thank you so much for mercies. Thank you for this exposition and this knowledge that has been revealed unto us. We pray for application of this. Not just the hearers that are blessed are justified, but the doers. I pray the necessary skills and the empowerment needed to apply this, you give to every one of us. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.